Hello and welcome to the Shin Megami Tensei, the Amala Network podcast, episode 9, part 2. I'm your host, Anthony, once again.
I'm John, not Harden.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Keith.
I'm Taryn.
And today, we have a lot of Megami Tensei topics to talk about. First off, as you may know, Apocalypse, and like I said in the last podcast, is out. Everybody's playing it. We're getting positive feedback on the game itself. So, pretty much, Mega 10 fans this week rejoiced in joy with this new title, and honestly, the positive vibe we're getting with Apocalypse is really, really nice. So, I guess we'll start off by talking about Apocalypse initial release and stuff. So, how many of you actually picked up the game? I know Taylor didn't, but how many of you?
I'm protesting the price.
Well, yeah, obviously, I know price point is really awkward.
Atlas tax.
I got it.
They're special.
I have 2 copies. And then
Alright.
the
I
Japanese
have
copy.
one. I got it a day late, and I don't got my pre-order bonus.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. I know my friend bought it the same day as me, didn't get the pre-order bonus, but hey, that's what you get for not pre-ordering. However,
Well,
I don't think it's really worth, because it's literally just, it does the same thing as any other armor would do in the game,
wait, is it
essentially,
like-
because I know for a fact the GameStop EB1 resists ice, the Amazon one resists thunder, I believe, and the Best Buy one that dresses you up as like a Best Buy employee is like
wait,
fire
what?
resistant. I don't know.
He's talking about the bonus.
The
offer that came
pre-order
with the game.
bonuses. I'm just saying, like, it really doesn't really matter because you can literally get an equivalent armor that does the exact same thing in the game. It's just aesthetic
No.
appeal. So
No, I just like the idea of dressing as a Best Buy employee, though.
well,
Apoc-
I mean, you can dress yourself up as an Amazon package.
Seriously?
I mean, that's why you have the Amazon arrows on the costume or whatever, the armor. The
Yeah,
arrows.
what do you look like on the GameStop armor?
Well, it's just red and black.
It's like black
So
with
the
red stripes.
GameStop logo.
Yeah, kind of in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause GameStop is red and black.
Yeah, Apocalypse is out, and everybody that I know is enjoying it. I'm enjoying
Yeah.
it on my 6th playthrough.
Yeah,
The voice acting is phenomenal. As for my initial thoughts of the Apocalypse release, yeah, Keith, you literally told all of us stop overreacting. It's gonna do well, and here it is. It's doing well, even with the high price. And I'm surprised because the reviews are top notch, like from what we've seen so far. Review sites like GameSpot, I believe, reviewed rated it highly. I guess when it comes to Mega 10 games that they've rated in the past, I think it got more than SMT4. Well, obviously it did get more than SMT4, but I'm just saying, like, as of right now, I'm pretty sure on their website, that's a highly rated Megami Tensei game. I'm not too sure. Don't count my information. It's probably wrong.
In that review, were they comparing it to P4?
I do not know. I really don't know.
Because SMT4 review from them directly compared it to P4.
Why? They're totally two. They're different games.
A lot of critics were
Well,
doing that,
because
actually.
I guess that's their point of reference.
Okay,
I
okay.
guess that's our point of
Well,
reference. For the series.
here's the difference between the two. Like, Persona 4 is more of like a VN slash RPG,
Yep.
and when you compare it to
Yeah, that's why I didn't
Megami
think of E4.
Tensei or the mainline or the well, just Shin Megami Tensei in general, it's different. It's like
It's
Yep.
just a straight up
you
RPG.
can't compare Devil Survivor to SMT4 because Devil Survivor is an SRPG and Megaten 4 is just a standard JRPG, turn based, whatever, whatnot, what have you, dungeon crawler. It just doesn't make any sense, but in a sense, I can see why they use that as a point of reference because the way that they recognize the Megami Tensei series is through the Persona series. That's their review. I don't know.
I
I
don't
can't really judge
I
them for
don't
doing that.
think. Okay, but I don't think it's fair to compare it to Persona because SMT, the mainline SMT series, did come first.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I think they compare it to Persona because they don't know any better.
Um, how about you, Keith? What do you think about this topic, or just in general on how they chose to take this review approach?
It's hard to understand that this like franchise is super multifaceted. You wouldn't really know that Devil Survivor, Devil Summoner, Persona, and Mainline are all different things and function completely different. So I could see them comparing it to any of the other spin-offs and just trying to see what's good about it versus the other. I don't know. It doesn't really seem that like that much of an issue. Um, it kind of plays like the first Persona 1. So I guess that would be valid. But if they're comparing it to Persona 4, then it would make no sense to me.
Yeah, I just kind of found it weird, but I digress. It's what the reviewers want to do. Personally, I don't think anybody should be taking reviews seriously. Just enjoy the game. Like there was a one review recently that I was reading. Um, it was from the Christian Gamer site actually. Great review by the way. I thought it was just by the site alone. I was really sketched. I'm like, am I in for a cringe fest? I was like, no. I read through this guy's review. He viewed it like a real gamer, and then he viewed it with Christian views in a sense.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. It was well spot on. It's probably one of my favorite reviews I've read so far about Apocalypse. um, but yeah, as I was reading through it, I was like, this guy's legit because he points out he does have experience with the previous titles in the series, which makes it better for him to back up his points in his argument or whatever in his article. Um, as you go down, he starts and he has his Christian views on there. So when he rates the game highly as a real gamer, and then he rates the game lowly because for obvious reasons with the
Yeah.
Christian belief and stuff, right? You
Yeah.
shouldn't be playing this game if your beliefs are really strong. In a sense, it's like that's what he
Yeah.
was telling. It was like this is not recommended for Christian families or Christian or people who believe in that
Yeah.
that faith to play this game, which makes
I
sense.
don't. I wouldn't say people who believe in faith. I just say people who believe in that faith. Get
Yeah, it's
offended
true.
easily.
Like
I'm a Christian. I actually like all the imagery in
Yeah.
SMT.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's the same thing with this guy. Like he enjoys this game genuinely, but he was viewing it in a sense where it's like not to really demonize the title and say, "Oh, hey," like he was just saying this is not really recommended if you believe strongly in your religion or if you feel like it will just offend you, type of thing. Because there is some touchy references in there. Let's be real here with Megami Tensei. Um, it's up to the player whether they take it seriously or not. Like every single Atlas title starts up at every single title screen you'll see this game is not a work of like it's not fiction. Like it's fictional.
It is.
Sorry. That's what I meant. Sorry. It is this is a work of fiction. That's what I meant to say.
And
Yeah,
before we have that guy as like a guest on this podcast, we're just
honestly,
talking about like
that would be dope. Because his review is probably one of my favorites I've read on so far out of all of them. But yeah, um, I forget like it's, I think it's Christian Centered Gaming or something. That's the
Christ
website.
Center Gamer.
Christ Center Gamer. Yeah, so check it out. You can do a Google search or whatever. I think a guy who reviewed it was his name was Benjamin or something. Anyways, yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, in terms of Apocalypse, what do you guys think of the whole presentation of what you've played so far? I'd say.
It's phenomenal. It's probably the best mainline game I played to date.
Okay.
Like,
What what things did you like, or what things that you like found really interesting that that SMT4 didn't offer?
well, balance for one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
And
balancing in
uh,
SMT4 was horrible.
Yeah, because like even like on Master, like I did like thousands of damage. Like now damage is balanced out, and plus the affinities. Affinities like I said earlier in the last podcast, like you can have a good demon with high magic, but if the affinity is low on the magic skill you need,
Yeah.
then you're not gonna break even.
Honestly, that's probably one of my favorite things to come from this title, especially, is
Yeah.
the affinities. Like, you can literally have any buff demon and just like it will be weak to something. Like you'll give it
Yeah.
you'll give a Jack Frost fire moves and it will use up more MP, making it harder
Yes.
to use any of
Yeah.
its other moves. Whereas a skill infinity that is like let's say you throw on a bunch of ice moves and they're like +7, +10, they use up less MP consumption.
Yeah.
And with this game,
I-
I've seen a lot of instances where your demons will run out of MP really quickly, therefore making you having to heal constantly. I don't think it's really a chore. It's more of like it's pretty much the game, and I guess it adds more challenge, in a sense. That's why it's like so spread. Like everything is spread out evenly, to the point where it's like you can be playing on any mode, and still have the same experiences as somebody playing on a higher difficulty. In a sense, when it comes to skill affinities and whatnot. When it comes to overall difficulty, though, I'm not saying that all difficulties are the same across the board. Apocalypse is the hardest mode in this game, and
You mean war? Or no?
well,
Okay.
War is the second hardest.
War is like the
I
difficulty
think.
setting.
Yeah, that's your default difficulty setting. Apocalypse is where you set the game to Apocalypse and you can change it. You play through that difficulty throughout the whole game. I like this feature because it's like it locks you down from like and gives you a challenge. Obviously, it locks you down from not like switching your difficulty if you feel like you're getting the pressure like on you. The game gives you a lot of chances where you could just like if you screw up, let's say, I don't know, you face a boss, you lose, and you're like, oh, I'm stumped, I can't do this on Apocalypse. It's like
Yeah.
it gives you a lot of chances to compensate for it, as in like you can do side quests, you can
Yeah.
collect relics, you can fuse more demons, you can buy apps, and if not, the fallback or your last resort is using the DLC, and the DLC,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all the EXP stuff is out for DLC.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Like for my challenge run, I might have to use DLC.
Honestly, the only instance where I would be using DLC is probably just grinding up app points to get the Annihilation mode, which costs 3,000 app points. Annihilation mode, basically
Yeah.
what it does, it gives you an instant game over screen, and I believe every single battle you fight, the opposing demon smirks.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure. So every single
Oh,
fight you
I thought
start
that was
starts with a
friendly that
smirk,
did that.
with the demon smirking, not you.
Yeah, I thought that was friendly that did that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I like the challenge build I'm pretty much is gonna do with Apocalypse is a gun strength build with anarchy earrings.
Yeah, it's pretty. One more thing I would like to note is the customization of your difficulty. It's phenomenal how they gave you so much options to uh, make your difficulty. Is like you
It's
could.
it's almost like Castlevania like.
I haven't played Castlevania, so I
Oh,
can't really say.
because like in one of the Castlevanias, there is a option where you can make it really hard by doing called level 1 hard mode,
Yeah.
and
Um.
it's very 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 hard.
Yeah.
Since you're forever level 1,
It's
or
kind of the
or or,
same thing in
or critical
Apocalypse.
mode, or critical mode in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, basically, but like with critical mode in Kingdom Hearts, I think it gives you like half of whatever the HP is.
Yeah.
Um, in this game, in Apocalypse, it's more of like, hey, you can put weaknesses on yourself and make yourself
Yeah.
weak to everything. Annihilation mode, like I was talking about, and the Apocalypse run, like or Apocalypse mode. But yeah, lots of customization for difficulty, and
Oh
of
my god!
course,
If there's a way where I can be forever level 1 in Apocalypse, I would do it.
I'm
I,
I'm
I, I just I just would do it
I'm
for.
pretty sure there's like an item where that it prevents you from leveling up, but I highly doubt that's a thing. There's so many other like I think there's like enough difficulty options that it's really redundant. I'm not too sure if it will. I don't think it would be impossible to beat the game because you couldn't level up or gain skill points or whatnot. Anyways, that's enough of me ranting. What about John and Keith and Taylor? What do you guys think?
Well, I think the game's great. It's definitely the most fun I've had with a main line.
Yeah.
The story, well, I haven't beaten the game yet, so I can't say much about the endings for myself. Like you guys listened to my Heretic Mansion episode where me and Jeff gave our cynical thoughts on the endings. But that was from that was from like an unofficial translation, so I don't know if that was wrong or not, and I haven't gotten to the endings myself. But as far as gameplay goes, Apocalypse has pretty much fixed every major problem I had with 4, with the exception of smirking, which even smirking isn't as overpowered as it was in 4.
Yeah. Honestly,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, for me, the biggest improvement over 4 was that demons once again have unique stat distributions. Like 4, it had, I talked about this before, but 4 had a thing where the stats were either balanced, mostly agility with some strength and luck, or strength and agility and magic and luck. But Apocalypse doesn't seem to have that. Like a lot of the demons seem to have unique stat distributions. Like one demon could have high dexterity and high magic. One demon could have high agility and high luck and low everything else. And yeah, it's a lot better. It means the demons have their own unique stats, and it's not like one demon is the same as the other.
Yeah. There's one thing I like to know about SMT, or like the translation you guys were talking about. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say to take that to heart because it's not really concrete compared to the localization. The localization by far is not wrong. It's more of like it's worded differently to make sense, I'd say. It's like with the localization team, it's they put a lot of meme text in there. Like what I mean by meme text, it's like most of the dialogue is
Oh. Yeah.
not really taken seriously compared to the Japanese version.
Yeah.
Not to say that they censored it, but it means the same thing regardless. It's just put in a funny way. I don't detest the localization, however, it's you'll see the difference from whatever translation you've read compared to this localization. and I feel like the localization will make you understand the story even better compared to a vague translation you've read. Like honestly, like what I've been reading so far, like oh, it's like oh, this person did that, and because when I played the Japanese version in its entirety, I was literally questioning myself, and I was reading translations online, and I was like, I'm totally confused on what's happening. So yeah, like it's literally just a breath of fresh air when you like play this game.
I
Yeah,
I also so far, I mean, story. I'm enjoying the story a lot more than I enjoyed 4, and I'm also
Yeah.
enjoying the cast. The cast is a lot more lively and colorful
Yeah.
than 4's cast. That's for sure.
I would say this is probably a game you would recommend to people that play Persona, because
Yeah, if you
look at
haven't
the
played,
yeah
if you haven't played a mainline, I suggest you start with Apocalypse.
yeah like this game, like as much as at the times it can be intimidating, it's really good, and plus it has that paradise mode. So if you're feeling like you don't want to grind, or you don't want to experience crappy boss battles and whatnot, and just want to enjoy the story, just set it on a paradise. Like no shame in doing that. It's probably one of the easiest modes. You just breeze through and still have that experience, that Megaton experience.
Yeah,
But
and the thing is, all mainline SMT games in the past has been kind of like, chaos and law going to
yeah,
war with each other, and
Yeah.
then humanity being there in the middle. But with Apocalypse, it's like the humans or the neutral alignment is
Yeah.
actually like an established faction, and they're kind of working with the demons and the angels because there's a new faction, which is the Divine Powers or the
Yeah.
Polytheistic Alliance.
yeah. So it's pretty cool how like even character development is pretty good in this game for a mainline game, I'd say. So highly recommended for people who are into character interactions and whatnot. This is a game. This is the mainline game for you, in a sense. Yeah. What about you, Keith? How do you feel about Apocalypse? Your initial or your impression so far on playing it, if you've played it.
Well, I think I'm almost at the end of the game, but in comparison to all the other mainline games, I kind of I'm mixed. I really enjoy the story. It's very different from all the other mainline games, which is just, like both good and bad. It's breaking some tradition, but also connecting everything in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Does a much better job of storytelling and character development as opposed to 4, where everything felt really flat and the story felt really forced and untensei-ish, I guess. I think that like Yamai, his style, both with the narrative and even just things like the reading the items or looking at the environments, it's really interesting, and it shows a lot about his attention to detail, and I like that. Overall, the gameplay is okay for me. I'm not a huge fan of it because it's basically SMT4, but good gameplay. It's not as broken, but if I was gonna rate it, I would say it's like a little under like Strange Journey or SMT2, which are like my personal favorites.
All right. Once you finally beat the game, what path are you ending? What path are you aiming for actually at the end of this?
I don't know. How many paths are there?
There's 2 bad endings, and there's the 2 main endings where it's peace and anarchy. Endings.
Oh, well, it looks like I'm at the one where I'm going to do something that will result in like a law type ending. I don't know. I guess I don't know what that makes it, but it looks like I'm about to kill Lucy basically.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you do fight the 2 in the game, so it's
If
not
we can
really
avoid spoilers.
Yeah,
by the
well,
way.
here's the thing. Like, they're pretty much enemies from the last game. Pretty much, they're gonna be enemies in this game, so it's a given. Yeah, I do know where you are. That is not your decision point. However, it could influence your decision. And
Oh.
result in a bad ending per se, but it's not really like.
Yeah, it's getting kind of trippy. The
Yeah.
writing is like really different.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like why, but it's like as if everyone's on drugs right now or something. The way it's written is so weird.
Yeah, it gets like that throughout the game. You'll understand later on why that is. But yeah, pretty much that's good. I wanted to ask, have you been doing the side quests throughout like?
No,
Oh, okay. Um, side quests, just letting you know, like the side quests are they don't really affect endings, but they're pretty much there, and they're better they're better in a sense compared to four. Because four, you would have these side quests. Like, I mean, not to say four side quests were bad. I'm just saying these ones are filled with more, I'd say, historical content in a sense. But I'm not saying that four didn't have any. This one is like it's more enriched in a sense. You'll see later on, like there's a lot of end game side quests that are really heavy on that, and I'm not too sure if you'll be interested in it, but yeah, it will make it'll make you enjoy the game a little bit more in a sense. That's what I like about the game, anyways. Just the whole side quests and whatnot. It makes it easier to. Also, the game also makes it easier to collect relics and items and whatnot. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really fun. Yeah. What about you, Taylor? What do you? How do
So
you?
I have
What are
not
your
played the game.
impressions so far about the game of what you saw or what you've like actually heard?
So having not played the game, like I have some beef.
All right.
Like a translation, um, with those issues that were left in, I feel like this is the second game in a row where it just feels like a very cheap localization process.
Uh, define cheap.
Fine cheap? Okay, so missing things and leaving in a lot of Japanese text and
two
not putting
lines.
in like do what?
It's um, Keith was referring to the two lines, what they messed up or what they slipped on.
Yeah, so missing that and like not having English voice acting for hashtag FE. I don't
Oh,
know. I just
sharp fe. Okay.
yeah.
So you're saying that the way
I just
how
feels like the second
localizations.
game in a row. It just feels like the second game in a row where the localization has been kind of on the sloppier, cheaper side.
Um, what what? Okay, so those two reasons that you've stated are like basically what you feel that they've done a cheap job. Um, compared to their
Yeah.
previous titles, how do you feel about the Record Breaker translation?
I have not played the Record Breaker translation, so
Okay.
I can't really comment
Um,
on that.
basically, I was content with the Record Breaker translation. The only problem is it was a really big game. They had a lot of dialogue that they had to translate. However, it ended up having there was grammatical errors. I mean, this is normal for a game that has tons and tons of dialogue that has to be translated, and some of them resulted in crashes. But it was really
Wait, wait,
really
wait, wait,
rare.
wait. So there were crashes
Well,
in a record.
there were small instances of crashes. Small instances. It was kind of similar to Soul Hackers, where Soul Hackers had that small instance of when Japanese text showed up, and like it was just random. It was just a random string that was triggered in the game.
Oh yeah,
It
Persona
was
3
similar.
Portable had that too.
It was similar in a sense. So like I don't want you to think that like they had previous like past you know failures or whatnot. However, they haven't impacted the game heavily to a point where it made like a huge commotion. It
I don't
didn't
know.
make
I
it
just
didn't
kind
make
of
the
like
game unplayable in a sense.
I
Yeah.
just kind of like expect more from Atlas on that front, especially with these game-breaking glitches I've been hearing about in
Well,
Apocalypse.
Well, I mean, okay. As far as Record Breaker goes, for a game that has that much dialogue, there's bound to be at least one slip up. Like even in Persona 3 Portable, I remember some parts where it would show Japanese text, or some parts where I was playing as the female protagonist, but they left in the
Yeah.
dialogue for the male protagonist, so they'd say he randomly.
Yeah, there's a small instance like even when I was doing a translation for SMT Apocalypse or Final, there's been instances of text overflow, and that's what made our translation a little bit unstable. And I guess that's the reason why we just gave up on it because the localization was coming out. So it was like, oh, what's the point of working on this if they're just gonna refine it? They did a good job with it anyways. Um, but when it came to when we translated it, it was more of like text overflow, and that's present in pretty much, I'd say, I wouldn't say all of the games. If you can control it, that's great. However, when it comes to a game that's filled like where you have to convert, the ASCII into whatever to translate the dialogue, it's gonna be it's really just a pain.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like to write off Atlas for that. However, yeah, they did have, they're not the best translate. Like you can't really expect more from a niche company in a sense, but
I don't
they
know,
do
like,
they do put out quality games.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
here's an
say
example.
I wouldn't
I would go
say
with,
take
so-
it with a grain, like just take it with a grain of salt. If you buy Apocalypse down the line, if you find out, like if you hit a roadblock, or you know, chances are it's not gonna happen, because I know two people who have played through the game so far and they didn't have any problems or any game breaking glitches. They didn't even trigger what is supposed to be on like the text, but I'm probably just gonna do it just to see what's it about. Um, maybe make a post um, on the group about it, or throw it somewhere in the spoiler thread. However, I wouldn't say write them off.
I'm not writing them off. I'm just like
Yeah.
I just expect more from them, and it
All
just
right.
feels like their
Well,
Well, that's
quality
fine. That's
localization has
that's
been
totally
going downhill.
fine.
their localization team is tiny. That's you're asking a lot of like what is it like 6 people or something?
Yeah.
Wait,
Um,
only 6? Really?
I really don't know the team, or the translation team, for what they do. Um, I just don't know their numbers. So if you have more to actually add to that, Kate, that would be great. You just clear up our
Well,
minds for a bit.
here's like a comparison. The company Carpe Folklore only has 2 people, and yet they're able to translate games like Legend of Heroes, uh, Trails in the Sky,
Chosen in the Sky.
and without any issues. Yeah.
Were they doing that and another major release called Persona 5 at the same time?
Well, no, but like
Wait, so Persona 5 was also in the works at the same time when
Well, I
Apocalypse was
mean,
being
Persona 5
translated?
is already done. So is SMT Apocalypse. They've been done for a while. They're just now releasing Persona 5, but the localization team has to start before they even announce a launch date. Otherwise, they can't assume when the launch date will be.
Um,
I think if they're going to spread the resources out, then perhaps they should hire a few more people,
um,
or perhaps not be as ambitious as they're trying
there's
to be.
one thing I would like to say about translation for Apocalypse. Between a time span from February leading up to this day, I'd say, I don't think, I don't know. This is really hard to say, honestly. So they had 6 people working on this project till this day. And then, well, okay. Keith, how far in advance did they receive the Japanese version of Persona 5? How
That
far in
I
advance do
don't
you
know.
think that they got the Persona 5 and then they started, and then they had Apocalypse on the side still going?
That I don't
I would
know.
say,
But based on the way that they pushed back the SMT 4 Apocalypse date, they probably got them around nearly the same time and put Persona 5 above Apocalypse.
Mm, but it came
See,
out okay. But here's the thing: it came out.
it's my knowledge that in game development, like the script writing is like the main thing that happens first, and then you get into like programming, the meaty sides of it. So they probably had like a script 80% locked down before they did like any real major work on it. So they probably had it for a couple years.
What do you mean? What did they have in for a couple years?
Like
Persona 5?
80% roughly of the dialogue of Persona 5, probably.
Um, it's kind of hard because it's been delayed in Japan for a while. I mean, I would assume once it comes out in Japan, or they would get it a day before
I
it
would
came
assume
out in
part of that
Japan.
delay was
Well,
the
when,
the
okay, well,
PS4
okay, well, when it
and
got
having
delayed,
time and resources.
When it got delayed,
okay,
go on.
when it got delayed at Tokyo Game Show 2015, like when they announced the delay, I remember hearing, like, from an article that they said that the game was pretty much finished. They just needed to needed to finish polishing it and stuff.
Okay. Um, what are the chances
AKA,
of
they need to port it to the PS4 and have it run well.
what are the chances
Yep.
of Atlas having that before, like Atlas USA having the complete what version and then translating it over the span of years? I don't think that would be the case because during that time they were busy with I don't know, Stella Glow, I guess, and Seventh Dragon and some other titles. They were localizing other stuff
Inception
during that
2.
time, Conception, whatever, or during the development process of Persona 5. It, I think they got Persona 5 2 or 3 days before it initially released in Japan and said, "Oh hey, start translating." Um, However, what I find really odd is that SMT4 Final came out in February, I believe. Not too sure. It was announced in November, released in February, and they had February. I'm not too sure if they got it right away after, like, or a week after, if they got the Japanese version of Apocalypse. And from that day, they started, or if they started a translation for Apocalypse and went all the way through. Keep in mind, they had King of Fighters to localize, I think. And what was that other game? I keep forgetting. There was pretty much stuff that was
the Untold 2.
Untold 2 during that time.
Yeah, and no, Etrian Mystery Dungeon. That's what it was.
But either way, they had translation projects going on. King of Fighters obviously took up most of it, I'd say, time-wise.
I would say not really due to that just being
a fighting game.
and-
Okay, well, yeah, Etrian Untold. Etrian Odyssey 5, which released in Japan recently. I think they also have that in the works. However, I don't. It's hard to say. I'm not too sure if there's a concrete reason as to why Atlas has, like, from the release date, from the Japanese release date till now. I'm not too sure if they've actually worked on Apocalypse during that time, because the span from the U.S. release date for the original, or I think it came out around May, SMT4. I forget, what was the Japanese release date for SMT4?
Pretty sure it was like May, and then the American version came out in
June.
July.
Yeah, July. So that was that was a really short time span. Like, they got all of that translated. Like, that was like, what,
See,
1-2 months?
okay, so
No,
to my knowledge, this is how
it was 1 month.
specifically Square Enix works, and I think this applies to a lot of other Japanese companies. Like, once they get the script entirely locked down, they will send it to America or whoever's localizing it, and they'll start working on it before the game's even finished.
Okay.
So that way they can get
Yeah, like
a lot
Final
of VA done.
Final Fantasy 15 is getting a worldwide release.
So you're
Yeah.
saying that
like Kingdom Hearts 3, for example, allegedly has all the English translations
So you're
like
potentially
almost
saying
done.
you're potentially saying that Atlas had the dialogue for a while.
Yeah, yeah. If they worked like effectively, I would say they would have had it for a long ass time. Like it was
I
just
don't think
this
so.
past 5 months.
All right.
It's-
So Keith, what do you think on what we've said so far? Do you feel like there's another reasoning behind it, or is there another factor you think that will contribute to this whole um, fiasco in
Well,
a sense?
well, I mean, to my complaints is that the issues aren't that big. People just want to complain because of the price point, and they want to find a reason to argue why the price point is
Yeah.
unjust. So then they
Well, to
use
be
this
fair, if you're
as
gonna
reasons.
charge $50 for a 3DS game, have more of a polished product.
Yeah.
It's a really polished product. That just the localization from SMT4 to this is impressive in the sense that the writing is better. I don't know if it's just writing because the script itself is better, or if the localization team, which from my understanding, some of them aren't the ones that worked on the original. Like it just has like a better feel. And then even with the localization, even if they did translate everything, they still have to be able to manipulate the translation to fit into the boxes or change the way the boxes work so they can actually have fit all the dialogue in. So regardless of if they wrote the script already and then got the product, they would still have to then rewrite parts to make it fit.
Um,
Yeah.
there was one thing I found really odd, and this is just comparing my translation to the actual final product. Um, when it came to demon names, I've noticed that they shrunk the font size for the demons, which is just this is just a minor complaint. I'm just saying this. People, or actually, I know there was a couple guys who were saying that. Oh, why is the font so small on the when it came to the battling demons and whatnot? Why is it so squished? Um, basically, this is what I feel like, and this is the main problem we went through when we were translating it. Text overflow once again. Um, the amount of the amount of bytes or bits in the one string, if you pretty much use a certain font style or try to convert it, if it exceeds the the existing one or the amount that it had from before, you would need to find free space somewhere in the ROM or wherever or memory somewhere in the game. We had to use the update patch, the Japanese update patch, as free space. So what we did, we shoved all the strings into that, and then once the game loaded the patch, it went all over the actual game. However, when it came to overflowing, it would result in game crashes, and this is what I feel like what they did here. They had to shrink the font size or somehow make more space because there's a lot of long ass demon names in this game for sure. If you were to just apply a certain type of font, you'll see how if you extended the font or you somehow the word to increase the font, I'd say it would overlap with the textures or make the textures glitchy. You know how you have the surrounding boxes, like you were just saying before, Keith. Um, it could result in just making the game a little bit messy. So I guess that's the reason why they did that. Yeah. Programming aspect of it, yeah, they had to take in so many factors. The demon names especially. Skill names, I think so too. Skill, there's probably some longer skill names. Yeah, I really don't have a concrete complaint. In a sense, it's more of like, why did it take long? But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of factors that can contribute as to them working on um, different titles. If they're
Well,
gonna work,
I'm just personally, I'm just thankful we got the game.
yes, that's another thing too. Funny enough, they announced localization on my birthday, which was like, okay, that's odd. I woke up one morning. I was like, go on Twitter. Oh, hey, we're localizing SMT Final, also known as Apocalypse. Oh, hey, yay.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. I just found it really ironic. It was on like my birthday, and I was like, what? Does Johnny Boy know my birthday or something? Because I think it was the day before I showed off the final. Like we showed off pretty much all the translation we've done, like the textures translations, the skills, the skill names, the demon names, everything were translated except for story dialogue, because I was just saying, hey, let's just make this patch for people who've imported the game and want to just apply it, just to make the game a little bit easier. Um, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
while before we end the subject, one last thing I want to say is that we live in a time where we're getting more localized games than ever before. Like it used to be, we were lucky to get a game brought over here at all.
that
So
is true.
I'm just thankful for that. And I know a lot of people complain about bad localizations, but I just say we'll just be thankful we got it.
Yeah, that is true. It's. I mean, what next month is is a month of thanking. So let's just be thankful. You know what? I'm just gonna have my copy of Apocalypse on my dinner table for Thanksgiving Day. Just like you just pray, just say, Lord, thank you for giving me this game, and just be on with it. Just eat. And just whatever. That was probably a bad joke, but whatever. But yeah. Taylor, I guess. I mean, you bring up a lot of valid points. Not to say that you're wrong. However, there's a lot of factors affecting your points, in a sense where it's like, oh, hey, there could be a reason for point A. There could be a reason for point B, right? No, I'm not to say that you're wrong. I mean, you're right in a sense, but as the why factor comes in. Why did this happen, or why do you think this, or why do you think that? Anyways,
Well, I mean, the only thing I could say to that is after the success of Final or Apocalypse and the like soon to have be successful Persona 5, I will definitely find complaints if these problems still happen, because they should then have the resources to then hire more people
yeah.
and to be more detailed in their work.
For Persona 5
Fair enough.
especially, now they're claiming that they're gonna do all they can for Persona 5 and say, oh hey, yeah, we're gonna have balls to the walls, let's do this type of thing. You're just gonna have the best translation for Persona 5. In a sense, they can do it. Yeah, that's fine. But when it comes to release day and we figure out, oh hey, it's Apocalypse 2.0 situation again, that's something that we should question, because that's your major title. You shouldn't be slipping on the major title.
Yeah.
So
If it's anything less than Witcher 3 quality, then
we'll see. We'll see when it comes to Judgment Day, which is Valentine's Day in a sense. We'll see the release date and see what this product has given us. Like what product did they give us? Did we get the product that they promised, or did we not? But yeah, I guess we can move on to the next topic. What were we talking about? We were talking about the localization. Oh yeah, piracy. Apocalypse piracy. This is certainly bad. It hasn't affected sales, from what I've seen. However, it will affect purchase, like people who purchase the game. As you may know, there's the 3DS hacking scene is really like improved in the past, I'd say, couple years. It started out with a flashcard actually making an exploit, and it just grew from there.
Yeah, when
Now
SMT4,
everybody,
when SMT4 1 came out, there was like no hacking for the 3DS at all.
yes. So when SMT came out, it came out in a golden time where it wasn't even possible. Nobody really considered hacking the thing.
As an aside, I recently got my copy of Cubic Ninja. Game's pretty lit.
Yeah, I haven't played it, even though I just use it as a hacking tool. Um, but I digress. We live now in a time period where pretty much, if you don't know what a hacked 3DS is, your friend probably has one, or your uncle probably has one, or your mom has one, or God knows, like somebody, the odd one out of the crowd, will have a hacked 3DS. Um,
It's
yeah,
basically the PSP at this point.
yes,
Or the Wii. Everyone had a hacked Wii.
yeah. Oh, I'm not too sure about Keith. Keith probably doesn't have one.
No, I don't have a hacked 3DS, nor know anyone who has a hacked 3DS.
Or what about a Wii? What about a hacked Wii?
Nope.
Exactly. So there you go.
Probably do. They just haven't told you they hacked it.
I just don't know that many people with a Wii.
Wait,
with
really? Like everyone I know owns a Wii. Like
Yeah.
literally everyone.
Wii is probably when it came out was one of the most popular consoles. Like it was running strong, and then it just died out.
Yeah.
And then it turned into PS3 versus Xbox 360. At
And
the
then
end
we
of
got
it.
Xenoblade, and then it triumphs every PS3 game.
Anyways, so pretty much, if you don't know already what a hack 3DS is, somebody probably has one, or you probably know someone who has one. Now, it gets to the point where the game is dumped 5 days before its release date. That means people with review codes, people who had the game, but I was hearing the game broke this street date release or whatever. That's something that's really, really odd for a Mega 10 game, especially. Um, I don't feel like they've been mass produced because, I mean, I think my store only got 4 copies. So
Well, I mean, it is Atlas after
yeah,
all.
it got 4 copies, and I mean this was the same thing for Record Breaker. Record Breaker had 4 copies at the store.
And
Now,
Record Breaker bombed in terms of sales.
yeah, that was pretty bad. I don't understand, but even though I guess it's probably just the whole promoting. I guess it was a game that was already released, so I
To
don't
be
know.
honest, like that game should have come out like when the Jujutsu anime came out.
On Crunchyroll,
Having it come out after the fact probably killed any momentum for it.
Well, I mean, it was supposed to, but it got delayed to hell, like Persona 5.
yeah, pretty much it's really astonishing how this thing happens. It's more of yeah, I understand it's a really, really expensive game. Where it's $50. It's really expensive for a 3DS game. It's $73 Canadian for this game, anyways. I still bought it, but
Rip.
yeah. I kind of just find it really, really depressing as to, hey, it broke the street date release, and to think that this game was so dumped, it was dumped really quickly and thrown on the internet was really, really just. I was just praying to God that that didn't happen. Like in the last podcast, I was saying, please don't, this game needs the sales it can get. Like this is probably one of the best mainline games as of right now during this time that beginners and newcomers and veterans alike can enjoy.
Wait. You think people should start with this game?
Yes, I think people should start with this game. It has the difficulty setting for they've stated with the paradise difficulty or even just the regular easy mode. They can just go through with a breeze, and it has so many character interactions. So I don't see a problem.
I mean,
with it.
story reasons.
Yes.
Right? But I mean, story reasons.
What do you mean story? Story reasons?
Probably one
Yeah.
of the best stories.
Yes, I would say with the way the story is going with this game is pretty. If I were to compare it to the rest of the series,
Okay.
It has its light moments. It has its light moments.
Okay, what I mean is like in the first 3 hours of this game, is anything from 4 spoiled?
No, like
Not really.
not really. Most of it
Okay.
is like most of it. You like if you want to find out details on certain characters or what they mention, they will mention it really vaguely, but they will be like the description of the character will be added to your inbox, I believe, or is it database? No, I think it's database. So when you go into your database on your phone, um, you'll see that, and it will show you all the descriptions for every single character that has been mentioned in story dialogue. So even if you've played, even if you played, or even if you haven't played SMT4, you can still find out what the characters are and what their past, whatever the hell happened to them in the previous game.
Yeah, I think I think the worst thing in terms of spoilers, like for 4 and Apocalypse, was Jonathan and Walter showing
Yes.
up.
Other than that, I don't think you should really be afraid about spoilers with this game because they really put it off vaguely, and I feel like it acts like its own game. To be honest, it's more of like a. In my opinion, I feel like it's more of like a spin-off, or like just it's not really an extension. It's more of like an alternate way that the neutral ending would go in terms.
Gotcha.
That's what I think what this game is like. Other than that, yeah, I do recommend it. Back on topic when I was talking about piracy. Yeah, piracy, big no-no. I'd say this game deserves all the sales it can get. I've seen a lot of uneasy Mega 10 fans, at least in the Facebook community, saying they don't want to buy this game because of their past experience with SMT4. I feel like you shouldn't really judge that game because this is a total brand new game. It's like a refresh, in a sense. The fact that all these review companies are giving it like pretty much the highest rating like a Mega 10 game has gotten in a while should indicate that it's a no joke. I mean, it's totally different. But when it comes to piracy, in a sense, it's kind of like it's gonna hurt Atlas, but it's not gonna hurt them too much. You're gonna still have those dedicated fans who buy it, which is why I feel like they've increased the price because it's like, they'll still get it. They'll still get the sales from the people who really want this game. I mean, a lot of people want this game. Yeah. Other than that, the DLC is another story. So when the game came out on its initial day, the next day, all of the DLC got leaked. Like literally every single piece got leaked, packaged in one file. And you could literally just download this by just one click and it will have all the DLC. You could have all the pre-order DLC. You could have pretty much all the DLC that they've announced that's not even released is here. My reasoning towards it is that they got their DLC codes, injected it into their games. So they got the Amazon, they got the EB Games, they got the Best Buy. And then they converted pretty much everything from the Japanese version because you can convert DLC. That's a thing. You can convert DLC from the Japanese version and re-sign it as something else. And I'm pretty sure what they did was like the descriptions and the actual DLC is consistent. So, yeah, it's kind of bad because I mean, DLC you're supposed to make money off of that. I mean that's what it's there for. I don't think. Yeah, go ahead.
It might have drawn people in and gotten them motivated to get the game early if they did something like you get you get some DLC for free if you pre-order the game and get it within the first week, kind of like Atlas did with Lost Dimension, but I mean they didn't.
I don't think.
I think that would have helped justify the $50 price tag a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't too fond about when I got the pins. I mean, I knew they were gonna be small or they were gonna be miniature and some. They were fine. I'm totally content with that. I didn't open them. But
Yeah, the pins are kind of cool, but is it worth the extra $10?
yeah, is it worth
See,
the $73
here's my stance
Canadian?
on this. Here's my stance on this.
Okay.
Like, unless it's a full-on 10-hour long expansion pack, I don't think any DLC should be paid for, and especially a $50 3DS game. Like having paid DLC on top of that, that's pretty egregious.
But there's one thing I
I
would
get
like
it.
to justify
I
with the
get it.
DLC.
I get it. They want to make money.
Yes. Of course, you can
Like-
question their money decisions on what they price things at. When it comes to DLC, you're getting what you pay for. The content is there. I've played most of the Japanese DLC, and I can already tell that it's worth whatever they priced it at. As for the initial pricing for the game itself, that's where it's like, oh hey, we had to overprice it because we got to pay our employees, or hey, we got to overprice it because we're trying to run a business.
me ask
There's
this.
so many factors.
Like-
Yeah,
Okay, so all that DLC combined, like, what does it end up costing? Like all of it.
I really don't know. I think there's $2 pieces, $1 pieces, depends. The cosmetic items I'm not too sure about. If you go to the actual website, DLC shows up right there.
Like, if this is $10+ in DLC, then no. Because at that point, you're charging $60 for a game, for a 3DS game.
Okay. As I'm scrolling down here, the cosmetic item design, or the armor or the headpieces are 99 cents a piece. Right?
How many are there?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
The level grinding DLC is $3.
Yeah. So you have 4 times 4 by 99 cents. And then you have the you have the $3 grind?
Yeah,
Okay. Hold on. Let me just check how much.
and the Demon Market, which is, well, I'm looking on the website. It says
Yeah, I'm looking on there right
there's
now.
there's a Demon Market which costs $2. The Maca grinding DLC, which is also $3.
So
And
we're at 12.
there's the app DLC, which is $2.49.
Okay.
And then there's there's also the Jewel DLC, which is $3, the Inverted Pyramid DLC, which is a challenge quest, that's $2, the Explosive Epidemic in Mikado, which is $2, a Trip to Hawaii, which is $2.49, Depths of Twisted Tokyo, $1.49,
Okay.
the
Just
So
saying
we're
we've
at
passed.
26.
okay.
We've
So
passed.
we're at $26.50 now for DLC.
Um,
Yeah,
That is more than both of the
I'm-
Witcher 3 expansions combined.
yeah, and I've just been skipping over the cosmetic DLC too.
well, I haven't taken a look at all these. I mean, most of them are
Yeah,
not
so
even
that-
released, so I can't. Here's the thing. To be fair, I haven't bought all of SMT4's DLC. In a sense, I've only bought like some, not too much though. There's certainly ones you don't need to get all of them. But yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Keith? Like the DLC piracy, does it affect their sales? Do you think the prices for these DLCs are actually justifiable in a sense?
Keeping in mind, like, all this DLC together is around $30.
Yes, that's literally what I'm doing a rough estimate here. Three, yeah, so around, I would say $33 in total, from what I've calculated. I could be wrong. $33.
So at that point, they are selling the game and all the DLC for $83 US.
Yeah, in Canada
$83
it's more like
more than
100.
more like, yeah, we're getting into the hundreds. So 110, 120.
Yeah, so I don't feel bad for them with this being leaked. I'm sorry.
Um, I don't know. It really depends. Because how many of the, like, most of the DLC has been, not all of the DLC has been leaked. Or, sorry, it's not released. So you only have a couple of the free ones, and you have like 2 or 3 paid ones that you pay for. So it's incremental. So they'll be releasing, I say, like probably a new batch next month for the game, and then you will buy that. So they give people opportunities. Oh, hey, new DLC is coming out. Buy a new eShop card. We'll make money off of it, and that's it. It's incremental, in a sense. But I don't know. Like, here's the thing: the DLC is filled with content from what I've played. So, in a sense, I would only buy the ones I think are worth the purchase. Other than that, like the cosmetic stuff, is like not really. Like I calculated the cosmetic stuff in. You don't need to buy the cosmetic stuff. It's not required for you to buy the cosmetic stuff. However, it's just an option if you want your character to look cosmetically good. So
See, like going back to my Witcher 3 example, it has 16 free pieces of DLC. All of the cosmetic is free. And, like, the only things you have to pay for are the 2 expansions, which are another 40 plus hours of game.
okay. Now, when it comes to Witcher 3 and the way how they executed DLC compared to Atlas, what do you think? Where do you think Atlas has slipped up, in a sense? They overcharged the game, or in your
Overcharged the
opinion,
game.
overcharged the game.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so-
What I'm wondering is, was this DLC available? Like, I know was it available on day one in Japan? Because if it is, then that would suggest that this was originally like should have been in the game, but Atlas decided to strip it and sell it as DLC.
No, not all of the DLC was released all at once in Japan. You still had you had your pre-order stuff, you had your whatnot, your DLC. It was incremental, and it was almost the same thing. Like I think the Kongogai Messiahs came out like I think a month after. Like Famitsu revealed it, and it was like, oh hey, yeah, Kongokai Messiah is coming out. I'm pretty sure it was in April, I believe. So February was the initial for release date. April was the release date for Kongokai Messiahs. So yeah, they do have that time space or the time gap.
See, here's my thing. Like, I think with The Witcher 3, they removed some of the cosmetic stuff, but it was still like free DLC to like entice you to keep going back to the game and adding more things to it. On top of that, for $60, you also got like a soundtrack. You got stickers. You got a poster. You got like a compendium telling you like what all was what in the world, what happened in previous games.
Yeah.
Like for this, at what's now $83, you just get 3 pins. I don't know. It just feels. It feels like there was a good example, and this is the bad example.
All right, makes sense. That's
Not to
totally
harp
fine
on
if you feel like a DLC is being executed somewhere else by a different company. That's totally fine. I'm gonna say,
I
as
just
a
feel
person,
CD Projekt-
as a person, I've played like. Okay, actually, one question: how big is was it the Witcher 3 company? How big are they?
CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
They've only put out 3 games as of so far.
How big of a
They
studio?
are like,
How big of a studio are they? Do they consist of like a group of people, or are they just one
maybe
big entity?
like 200-ish, and this probably includes their GOG team.
Okay,
Like it really is like not big at all,
but I feel
but
like
still they're able to do like way more with it.
so you're saying that they're probably on the same employment, like the amount of people
I
they've
would say
employed is
I
probably the
would say
same
they're
as.
pretty. I would say like budgetary wise and like um employee wise, it's pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Some may disagree, but I feel like they're apples to apples.
Honestly, you see, in my case, I'm gonna be picking and choosing what I want. I'm not gonna obviously buy everything. People are gonna probably do the same thing. You're not required to buy everything. In a sense, yeah, I kind of find like there's, when you add everything up, it's too much. You've already paid too much for the game. Why should you pay more? I guess that's what you're coming from, right?
Yeah.
And you feel like this DLC should have been, or everything should have been included with the game already, all in one package, all for
Yes.
73 or $50.
Yeah.
That's
Like
totally
if you're
fine.
gonna charge a premium price for a game, then
Yes.
you shouldn't have trickled out pay for a DLC.
Like I said,
just-
we don't know what the real reasoning behind the pricing is. They haven't. John hasn't come out and said, "Oh, hey, we gotta pay our bills, or we gotta pay the gas bill, or whatever. You have to do this and that for the Atlas company." Or there's no justification where it makes you bring up all these questions. Oh, hey, what the hell are they doing? Like, why are they overcharging? All that stuff. John, what do you think? Before I go further.
Well, I mean, yeah, I pretty much agree with Taylor. I think this. Okay, well, I'd be a little more keen on paying the DLC if it was a little cheaper.
Okay, fair enough. Now,
Like, I mean, $3 for like one boss battle. Well, okay, I haven't done the DLC in Apocalypse myself, but I know in 4 it was like one boss battle for each DLC, one or two boss battles. I think
yeah,
if that's going to be it, it should be like $1 at most,
yeah.
Or
Honest-
like have all the boss battles sell for $5.
or just buy like a bundle and it'd be $5.
The DLC bundle. See, I think it was Smash that did the DLC bundles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
Now, if you were
it is some
Start on
awesome
Smash's DLC.
to compare the Smash DLC to Atlas's DLC and what they're offering, what do you think is better in a sense?
Atlas's DLC.
Well, I would say Alice's DLC. in
but
a
I
sense
still think they're
because-
both pretty overpriced.
Okay.
See, the thing is, I would be adding the cost of amiibos to Nintendo's DLC for Smash.
Okay. Do you think? No, no. This is just an option. Now, with the new 3DS capability, if they added in amiibo support for Apocalypse, which I highly doubt, would that change the game in a sense? Would that change it? If the DLC that you were supposed to receive as paid DLC was unlocked via amiibo, how would that change your stance? Would it still remain the same, or is it just a total? It's a different thing.
Okay, I wouldn't want to see SMT become part of that whole Skylanders and Lego Dimensions bullshit. So
No. I'm just saying that the piece, like in Super Mario Maker, there's things that unlock when you scan the amiibo. I'm saying that if DLC were to act the same way, if you had a certain amiibo, the DLC corresponding, let's say you scan a Mario amiibo and it unlocks
basically
Asahi
I
no
buy an amiibo and then I get DLC from it.
in a
Is that
I
what
sense.
like the idea. I don't like the
I
idea of having
no,
DLC
me
tied
neither.
to specific amiibos because that artificially seems to inflate the price of them.
But
People want to
it's
spend.
expected that everybody that has a 3DS certainly has one amiibo, at least.
Okay, well, I don't have any amiibos. Like, I don't want to. I wouldn't want to spend hundreds of dollars.
Okay, okay, I get
People
the.
want to spend hundreds of dollars on those little fucking toys. I don't really care. But
Okay, all right, but
I
I'm
don't
just
want it.
saying, how would your stance change if they did that?
I would not like that.
Okay, what about you, Taylor?
As someone who owns 8 amiibos, I would not be down for that.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Um, so yeah, I mean, Atlas it does have that dirty DLC practice along with other companies.
Well, it's pretty tame compared to some
Yeah.
other companies,
It's pretty tame, but yeah, it's still
but it's still
not
bad.
good.
It's
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like how in Deus Ex Mankind Divided, like it has microtransactions, but the balance of the game isn't broken, but it's still there. It sets a
okay,
precedent.
okay, all right. That's. I think Keith is gone. Rip him. Or is he still here? I really don't know.
Anyway, Kaneko art book announcement.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I wish Keith was here because I really don't know too much about it. But Kaneko was released an annual, I say annual book, I guess.
It's
Yeah, it's like-
basically just a It's basically just some more unreleased demon designs.
Stuff that he had in his closet and he just wanted to release in the public.
Yeah.
Personally, if you're a fan of Kaneko and you have a picture on his wall, or a picture on your wall, and you're jerking off to it, this is something you would buy. So, yeah. Kaneko art book, totally. If you guys are
He's too
interested,
busy. He's too busy putting out books to work on games.
he's too busy running in the flower fields. Yeah,
Rip Kaneko.
not too much to say. Okay, Persona 5 DLC. Thoughts on what has been released so far? You got the Persona 1 through 4 costumes. You got the 1 through 4 personas. You got the SMTF DLC. You got the SMT4 DLC costumes, and you have the Raido costumes that have been leaked. Thoughts?
I think that's pretty cool.
We don't know the pricing,
Yeah.
by the way, so we're not gonna throw that in the factor of this. But
Well, I'm just talking about the costumes themselves. I think it's pretty cool that they're including stuff from the non-Persona SMT in a Persona game.
yeah,
And it's
Raido.
kind of ironic that in North America, Persona 5 is dropping the SMT title, but they're including more stuff like this, and it's more like SMT than the other Persona games. Like any of them, even Persona 1 and 2.
Which is nice in a sense, because it's like, oh, hey, yeah, this is going to totally bring on new players.
Maybe it'll get them to try out some
Yeah.
mainline SMT games if they haven't already.
I personally like them. I like the SMTF one the most. It's probably one of my favorites, what has been revealed.
See, here's the thing. I hate those pants.
Oh, you don't like the pants? I like them.
No.
But here's the
It's
thing.
just-
I just really like plaid pants and, you
Blue
know, just
and green
weird and
stripes,
funky
really?
ones.
Really?
Hey, I mean, ask Kaneko why he designed the uniform like that.
I know why he designed the uniform like that. He said like a shitload of shrooms, and then he's like, "Fuck it, these are combination colors. Let's go with it."
True. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, I think Kaneko. I think I've been hearing something. I think I talked about this on the last podcast. How Kaneko and the Hideo Kojima is like, yo, hey, you know, let's go out for a drink. It was like Kaneko was like, hey, it's like, I need you to draw Anubis for my game. So you draw Anubis for Zone of the Enders. I think while he was drunk. I'm pretty sure that was the case. So yeah, Kaneko probably does have those moments where he's not like in the right state of
I
mind.
would not be surprised.
Yeah.
To be honest. doing
Yeah,
this work.
I'm really content with this DLC. When it comes to actual people downloading them, how many people would actually download these or consider? Um, Personally, it's Persona. I feel like it will just. This is a good thing because this will bring more people to the table. Hopefully, bring more people to the table. Um, when trying out the other games. What I kind of find really, really odd is that they went with SMT4 instead of SMT4 Apocalypse.
Hmm.
That might change down the line because that was leaked. That was leaked from the actual game itself. Like this was data mined and dumped. So those were like what three files or whatnot found on the
Yeah.
game disc. There's probably more to come, in a sense. Um, Not all of the
To be
DLC is
honest,
on the game disc.
to be honest,
Yeah,
I just want a Gaston costume in P5.
a Gaston costume, like
Yeah,
the is his actual samurai costume.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be cool.
that'd be dope.
Yeah, it would be cool to transition the costumes in a sense where it's like, oh hey, you can get Flynn's costume to Ryuji, or you could have like Walter's costume on the main MC or whatnot. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be nice if they. I don't know how it works, but yeah, there's probably more to come. We still don't know yet. Persona 5 is still kicking and whatnot. As for the release date, I know most of the DLC for the Persona 1 through 4 is out, and the themes are out, which they've been releasing a lot of themes, I'd say. They're good. They're high quality. I mean, it depends. They're the same price, and you pretty much choose what character you want. There you go. And then you obviously have the exclusive 20th anniversary theme that comes with the actual game, or the actual special edition. Yeah, but the DLC pretty good. I really like it. Rip Keith. Anyways, on to the next topic, which is the COD. They originally had action combat planned for Persona 5. It wasn't turn based. What are your thoughts? Would
I'm
you
glad they stuck with the turn based. I would not have liked to see that in
you wouldn't
Persona
want
5.
you wouldn't want to see a Raito 2.0 or Raito 3.0, sorry.
Not in Persona. I mean, if it was Raito, I'd be okay with it.
Okay.
Even though personally, I'm not a big fan of action RPGs.
Okay. So if they pulled like a Final Fantasy 15.
And no, if they pulled a Final Fantasy 12 with it, then that would have been a deal breaker.
Okay. Personally, I don't really care. Like, either one is fine. If it's fun and it plays well, that's what matters. Like, I played Kingdom Hearts. That's one that was good. That's a good action RPG in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want them to toss the classic turn-based system in favor of another action RPG thing
Mhm.
like so many JRPGs are doing. Like the Final
I feel
Fantasy
like
VII remake is doing that.
okay, here's the thing. I feel like with Final Fantasy, like the combat system has always evolved, so it's gotten to this point with 15 because there were like the steps with 13 and Lightning Returns and Type Zero. Whereas with this, I feel like if they went straight from turn based from with like Persona or say Dragon Quest into an action RPG, that would kind of ruin it because
Um,
it hasn't had like this incremental progression from turn
yeah,
based
what I
to
find
action.
with the whole action RPG thing, they also stated in the article that they originally did plan on having it. They tested the water for this for the first hand, and they said, "Oh, hey, yeah, this is probably not gonna work because it's probably just like John was saying earlier. It's like it seems really redundant to scrap a formula that you've got a formula going, right? So might as well use a formula that you already have instead of actually creating a new one that probably won't appeal to your audience. And this is what They went through with the testing, and before you know it, they just went with it. Where I felt like the
It's like
action elements came from was from the stealth and the mechanics that you could do in Persona 5, like you could sneak and you can jump on enemies and rip their heads off, or God knows what you could do. I felt like that action RPG concept did not go to waste because they found other ways to implement it through the game, which will probably make Persona 5 even more entertaining in a sense where it does have that stealthy action type whatever mechanic along with your typical turn-based Persona game. So yeah, that's my take on it. I really don't have too much to say about the action RPG. Yeah. On to our next topic. Persona 5 fast selling game out of the franchise. 337K
It's not
copies
surprising
sold in Japan.
because there's been a lot of hype going around for Persona 5.
Yeah, there was the promotion, also the PR for this is pretty spot on. They've literally advertised on every single building in Japan that they could do. Like they've put it on probably every single TV commercial on Japan, like buses and whatnot. I think it's been all over the place.
I mean, hell, they lit up Tokyo Tower just for Persona 5.
Yeah. That's a lot of
this is just
promotion.
this is just in the first week, right?
I guess, I think. I'm not too sure. Let me just open up this link. I'm not too sure if it states in a week.
Because it's only been out like a week, so
I guess.
I feel like this is a game that will have some longevity to its sales. So it might hit 500,000 copies before it's all said and done.
Yeah, fastest selling game in Japan. Last week on September 15, sale tracker Media Create indicates 337,600. Oh wait, no, 300. Yeah, sold during its first week. Okay, yeah, that's yeah, that you're right. First week. In a sense, yeah, totally. I mean, the marketing makes up for it. Like, you promoted a game so well, people bought it. The delay of Final Fantasy probably was a contributing factor. I'm not saying it was like people who pre-ordered Persona 5 in Japan, or sorry, people who pre-ordered Final Fantasy 15 also pre-ordered Persona 5 because it was on the PS4 also. So that could be a contributing factor that was like, oh, hey, might as well pre-order this game because it's not going to be coming out, or Final Fantasy 15 is not going to be coming out for a while.
Do we have like sales numbers comparing the PS3 copy versus
I mean,
on the PS4?
I feel like they're combined. I'm not too sure.
Well, I'd assume they're combined, but like I want to know what the ratio is between
Yeah.
them. Especially for Japan, where the PS4 isn't like selling like hotcakes like it is everywhere else.
Okay. So it seems
Yeah,
like
PS3 is still doing well though.
it seems like. Oh no! It says 264K has been sold for the PS4 copies. 72K has only been sold for the PS3 copy of Persona 5.
Gotcha.
So those are the things split up. That is pretty much more than all the other titles compared. So like even I think the lowest selling Persona game, according to their chart on Persona Central, is Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. On its first week, it sold significantly less compared to its predecessor, Innocent Sin. And P4 is at least almost half. No, not even half. P5 beats P4 by like a quarter in terms of first week sales. Yeah. No, pretty good, pretty good. Persona 5. You totally deserved it because marketing, marketing. Not really a surprise. Yeah,
The question is, do you think it'll be up Catherine, which sold 500,000?
I highly doubt. I'm not too sure. They didn't put Catherine on this, even though Catherine was made by the same studio. Um,
Well, I would assume that since this is just Japanese copies, like Catherine Worldwide was 500K. Do you think globally we can hit that with P5?
Probably. Or was it okay? You think Catherine? You think Persona 5 can top Catherine?
Do you think it can? That's the question.
I think it
Do you
can.
think it has potential?
If
Okay.
if I mean, a lot of people are hyped for it over here. I mean, obviously, all those plebs on the YouTube comment section will buy it, so I'm pretty sure it will do well here. Probably more than expected, since it's a different fan base. Yeah. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else. Oh wait, no, we do. Caroline and the Justine trailer, the two Velvet Room girls. I think they have their all-out attack is pretty much shown. So I guess they're an ally in this game. That's one thing. Not really a surprise there. I felt like they were gonna be playable anyways, or at least be party members. When it so nothing really surprising there. Caroline Justine, yeah. Um, yeah, I guess our final topic we should talk about the theory of Apocalypse being the last mainline. What if it was the last mainline?
It won't be.
I don't think so either. And if Keith was here, he'd probably bring up some excellent points. However, I think he's died off. What about you, John?
He's tied off like Demi Kids and Majin Sensei.
Died off like Demi Kids and Majin Tensei rip. I think John has also been disconnecting.
To be fair, it's like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's
EST.
almost 2 a.m. Let's go back to the topic. So our main topic is basically just Apocalypse being the last main line. What are your thoughts, John?
Well, okay, I see it being the last main line for a while, but like for maybe 5 or 6 years. But I'm sure we'll get another main line eventually.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like it's just really gonna. It's not really. It's concluding for. Um, in a sense, which is good. It concluded for on a good note.
Keeping in mind, this was our third mainline title in 7 years.
Yeah, but basically, I don't see the end of it. I don't feel like it's gonna be ending. It will be the end of the Kaneko and Koji Okada involvement. I'd say maybe. I'm pretty sure Kaneko will still be involved because of his artwork and whatnot. However, Cozy, no, Cozy is like dead. I think. I haven't heard anything about Koji Okada ever since Persona 1 and 2 were a thing.
I know he went to another company to work on some stuff, but I think they went out of business. Like he worked on this one game for the PSP called Jewel Summoner or something like that.
So basically, he is like Atlas's Kaga.
Yeah, you pulled a show fucking Kaga. That's funny. I don't think he would do that, honestly. I think he was just. Here's the thing: they've got Kaneko going about around just creating artwork for other games. So if Cozy wanted to develop for another game, why not? And Atlas didn't have a problem. That's fine. But if Atlas did have a problem, oh boy,
He should make Catherine too.
Catherine 2 by Kaneko.
Yeah,
Black-
just have Kaneko design all the characters.
Black upper lip intensifies. Uh, yeah. So I don't feel like it's gonna be the last main line. Trust, it's not gonna be the last main line. It's gonna be kicking. Like Apocalypse is doing well. I don't think there's like a reason to write it off if a game in the main line is doing well. Other than that, yeah. Oh, I forgot. We have questions. Yay. Let's answer them real quickly because it's getting late. Um, yeah, so let me just see where that question thread is. Um, Obviously, we're gonna just cut to the chase and skip over the redundant questions. Um, is there any fear of SMT4 getting milked like P4 was? So, would you want SMT4 to get milked as the same way P4 got milked?
No, I think there will probably be a self-milk game, and that'll be it.
Yeah. I as I would like for the milking to go on with Persona. Oh, sorry, with SMT4. No, it's probably not gonna happen. I mean, with Apocalypse concluding it, there's probably not gonna be any signs of milking. What do you think, John?
I mean, I'd kind of like to see it, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, that's probably not a plausible thing to think about, really, because I don't think it will come into fruition. Okay. Another question was like, um, what are your thoughts on the name change for SMT4 Final to Apocalypse? Name change. What do you think?
Honestly, I wish the game had been called SMT5. I think that would have helped with marketing. I think it wouldn't have
Honestly,
led to like consumer
there's one
confusion.
thing I would like to argue there. Um, if it was called SMT5, then that would mean why have references from the last game then, from SMT4? I feel like it would just be a continuation. And I was telling you earlier, wanted to just do a dash two, or do like pull a Final Fantasy, put like SMT4 two, or some shit. I don't know, or just make it unique. SMT4.
Well, you can have a sequel that like takes place during a game, and then
Okay, so you would want it to
like
have you would want it to be a full fledged game. You would want like portion of it to be connecting back to the previous game, however, lead
no, I
into.
think the game could have been as is, and it could still be called SMT5, and it still could have made sense.
Okay, what do you think, John?
It's, I mean, okay. The thing is, the reason some people think Apocalypse would be the last main line is because it was called Final in Japan. But
Yeah,
I think it's just ending. But it's like you said. I think it's just ending the whole Kaneko cycle thing.
yeah, pretty much. It's just bringing on a new set of titles in a sense.
Oh, but actually, back to the last question. One thing I'd like to see is a prequel to SMT4. I think that would be nice.
So like an Akira rip
Yeah,
rip
gives you
spoilers.
one that gives you more insight on the
Yeah,
origins of
like
SMT4.
the King Ahazuya, I think, of Eastern Kingdom Mikado. They like literally show him off in the beginning.
Hmm.
Yeah. That would be nice. You can play as a king, and how he rebuilt, or how he or I'm pretty sure how he built the kingdom of Mikado or whatnot. And how the statue was broken in the beginning of the game, alluding back to the past. That would be nice if they were to milk it. Otherwise, yeah. What else? Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
For when it comes to questions, I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah. There is one more.
One more.
Okay. Yeah. Quincy asks. Okay, so we all know that we kill the. Well, okay, it's spoilers. Is it okay if I ask it?
Well, I mean, everybody knows Yahweh is gonna be in the game.
Okay, so he said we all know that we kill the huge lemon drop head, so we do get So if we do get SMT5, who will be the main demon villain? Or villain, I guess.
Here's the thing, and this is like apparent for every single game in the SMT universe. As long as humans exist and as long as they're praising gods, they'll be resurrected or called upon again and again and again. So really, you can change up the story and still have the same villain. I mean, they've done it for 1, they've done it to 2. They didn't do it, well, they kind of did it for 3. Not really. Really, 3 was focused more around Lucifer. And then 4 was kind of like Lucifer and angels, and you have Apocalypse, big yellow head comes back again. They could do 2 titles without big yellow head, give it to another antagonist, and then bring back the yellow head again, and do that pattern. I don't know. It really doesn't really matter in the end if you're opposing God or a demon in some form. I guess it counts. I don't know. What do you think, Taylor?
Oh no, like I feel use Final Fantasy as an example, right?
Yeah.
Mainly for the Final Fantasy VII compilation, like having Genesis and having like Sephiroth as like a major villain over the course of few games kind of gets
Repetitive.
tiring.
So they would have to change it up. So I guess
with like what they did with Genesis or Deep Ground.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think some variety in villains, but having the same thing.
Bring villains from different religions. Bring villains from different.
Have Kalki, for instance.
As a villain.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't see. Okay, I don't see that working. Unless it was.
I mean, Kalki, correct me if I'm wrong, in Hinduism brings about like the end of days, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure though. Doesn't it follow like the Kali Yuga? I'm pretty sure, or whatever it's called. I forget.
So like, have him signal the end of humanity, and have him be the one who brings about like a great disaster or some shit.
Wouldn't that just be Vitra though? Because Vitra was a tyrant that droughted the land in Hindu mythology, and Indra was the one who summoned the rain and killed Vitra for drowning.
Hinduism has too many gods.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, they could just piggyback off Hinduism or Buddhism, or depends. Any religion, or base off like they could base it, like the story off of like what happened in the actual, story and whatnot. But yeah, I mean variety. Yeah, I can see that being repetitive. I mean, not many people had problems with Lucifer being a repetitive boss, I guess, because he's been in every game, I believe.
Yeah, but Lucifer's at least an interesting character.
Okay, true enough. Yeah, I guess that answers that question. What else do we have in that? No more?
That's pretty much it. All the other questions are completely pointless.
Okay. We have... Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, so... Thank you guys for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Amala Network Podcast, Episode 9, Part 2.
Episode 9.22.
9.22? Yeah, something like that. Please hit that subscribe button to Watermelon Media, because he needs his dollars, that YouTube ad revenue, whatever it's called. I don't even know.
Right now, my ad revenue is at 34 cents, so let's get that up to
A dollar.
more than that.
Get it up to $1. Be making $1. Yeah, but yeah, just give them a subscribe. Give Heretic Mansion a subscribe too.
Yes, please.
Yes, they need all
And he
the
has,
attention,
and he
man.
has Anthrax.
Oh yeah, me too.
Just like go to the recommended or related channels thing and just subscribe to all of them.
Yeah, and subscribe to Keith's niche gaming trivia channel. I'm pretty sure, and yeah, it's pretty
If I
much.
remember, I'll put all these in the description.
Yep, if you remember. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Fly me to the moon and let me fly.